It starts like any other stormy afternoon, but this time, it doesn't end. A single EF5 tornado touches down in a remote field in Kansas, tearing through everything in its path. The wind speeds are over 300 miles per hour. That alone is terrifying. But the worst part is, the next day, another EF5 forms. Then another the next day. Then dozens. Within 1 week, it's clear this isn't just a freak weather event, it's the beginning of something new. Something we've never seen before, a global, never-ending tornado outbreak with massive EF5 twisters spawning every single day across every continent. At first, it seems impossible. The kind of atmospheric energy needed to support that many EF5s day after day would mean the Earth's weather system has been completely rewritten. Maybe it started with a sudden, extreme warming of the oceans, triggering supercharged instability in the lower atmosphere. Or maybe some shift in the jet stream locked the world into a permanent storm cycle. Either way, every major tornado alley in the world becomes active. The United States, especially in the Central Plains, gets hit first and hardest. Within days, towns in Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, and Texas are shredded. People don't have time to recover because each day brings more storms. Then Europe gets hit. Tornadoes tear through Germany, the Netherlands, and parts of France, places where tornadoes are rare and buildings aren't built to handle winds stronger than a normal storm. In Asia, huge twisters begin to strike India, China, and even parts of Japan. Massive cities start preparing for tornadoes every single day. It's no longer just a weather emergency, it's survival. Meteorologists are overwhelmed, storm warnings are sent out constantly, but even the best technology can't keep up with the number of funnels touching down. In just the first 10 days, more than 200 EF5 tornadoes strike worldwide. By the second week, there are no safe zones left. The tornadoes are no longer just hitting known hotspots. They're forming in places that have never seen them before. One touches down in the heart of Rio de Janeiro, another rips through the outskirts of Rome. A funnel carves through the dense neighborhoods of Manila, while a mile-wide twister levels parts of Lagos, Nigeria. The tornadoes don't follow any usual seasonal patterns anymore. They strike morning, afternoon, and night, regardless of location. For the first time in history, Antarctica is hit with its own terrifying vortex, caused by bizarre warming that throws the continent's usual climate into chaos. The laws of nature have changed, and the atmosphere is no longer predictable. Cities can't recover fast enough. In the United States, Denver is flattened, then St. Louis, then parts of Chicago. Every time one area is hit, emergency services rush in, only for another tornado to strike the exact same region the next day. Disaster response teams start running out of supplies. Power grids are crushed under the strain. Whole regions go dark for days, then weeks. In India, twisters strike the outskirts of New Delhi and sweep toward villages already struggling with infrastructure issues. In Australia, Sydney is caught completely off guard as an EF5 moves inland from the coast and rips through suburbs in minutes. By day 30, over 1,000 EF5 tornadoes have been recorded across the globe. Entire countries are forced to declare indefinite states of emergency. Military units are deployed not to fight an enemy, but to help evacuate millions of people away from zones of constant danger. But the problem is, no place is out of reach. Mountain towns, deserts, islands, nothing is spared. People begin fleeing their homes, not just because they're destroyed, but because they've lost trust that the ground beneath them can ever be safe again. Weather forecasting becomes nearly impossible. New tornadoes form in unpredictable places, sometimes multiple at once. The skies look darker every day, with massive rotating supercells blocking out sunlight in huge parts of the world. Some tornadoes now last for over an hour, traveling more than 100 miles before dissipating. Others spin up suddenly in cities and vanish after 10 minutes, leaving behind entire blocks of nothing but rubble. No one sleeps well anymore. Families take turns staying awake at night, listening for sirens, watching the skies, waiting for the next monster to drop from the clouds. And the worst part, there's no end in sight. After 2 months of daily EF5 tornadoes, the world starts to feel unrecognizable. Landscapes that once held cities, forests, and farmland are now wide scars of dirt and twisted wreckage. The tornadoes aren't just destroying buildings, they're erasing the environment. Forests that took centuries to grow are shredded in seconds. Entire ecosystems are crushed. Rivers change course from the damage, and lakes become filled with debris. In places like the Amazon and Southeast Asia, the destruction of dense tree cover leads to dangerous erosion. Animals are fleeing in all directions, but they have nowhere to go. The skies are filled with birds flying endlessly, confused and panicked, as their habitats are destroyed over and over again. In the United Kingdom, a tornado touches down in central London, leaving the historic city nearly unrecognizable. Buckingham Palace is reduced to rubble. The Eiffel Tower in Paris is torn apart by violent winds. Cultural landmarks, some hundreds of years old, vanish in a matter of minutes. Asia sees destruction unlike anything it has ever experienced. Tokyo is struck multiple times in a single week. In China, Shanghai and Beijing take direct hits just days apart. Each EF5 leaves behind damage that would take years to clean, if there were still time or resources left to do so. The Middle East doesn't escape either. In Saudi Arabia, twisters form over the desert and roll across oil fields, disrupting production and sparking massive fires that rage uncontrollably. In Egypt, a tornado twists through Cairo, toppling buildings and scattering centuries-old ruins. Africa's plains become dangerous paths for these storms, and refugee camps in places like Sudan and Ethiopia are devastated with little warning. Food becomes one of the biggest concerns. Crops are torn out of the ground before they can grow. Farms that once produced thousands of tons of wheat, rice, or corn are wiped clean. Livestock are gone, killed, scattered, or lost in the chaos. With supply chains broken and transportation systems destroyed, people are left with dwindling food stores. In some regions, clean water becomes just as scarce. Tornadoes rip through treatment facilities, spill sewage into rivers, and make it dangerous to even gather rainwater. Communication becomes harder every day. Satellites start malfunctioning as supercells grow higher into the atmosphere and lightning becomes constant. Cell towers are destroyed faster than they can be replaced. Power outages stretch into months, entire regions fall silent. People try to send out messages using radios and handwritten notes, hoping anyone is still out there. In some areas, tornadoes strike the same towns every few days, turning them into permanent danger zones. There's a growing sense that the planet itself has turned hostile. But people keep moving. Survivors travel by foot, searching for places that haven't been hit yet. They try to build underground shelters, dig out basements, or live in caves, anything to stay out of the sky's reach, but no one knows how long they can do this. Even the ground starts to feel temporary. The storm has become a global event and it shows no signs of slowing down. By the time a full year has passed with daily EF5 tornadoes hitting the planet, the world has been fundamentally changed in ways no one could have imagined. Entire cities are gone, replaced by vast fields of rubble and twisted metal. Some of the largest metropolitan areas, including New York, Los Angeles, Mumbai, and Sao Paulo, have been struck repeatedly, leaving nothing but shattered foundations. The population has dropped dramatically as millions have either perished or fled to areas considered safer, although such places are now rare and shrinking. With most infrastructure destroyed, society as we know it has collapsed. Roads are impassable from debris and fallen trees. Airports and seaports have been obliterated, cutting off global trade and aid efforts. Hospitals are overwhelmed or destroyed, leaving the injured with little to no medical care. Governments struggle to coordinate any response, and many have dissolved into chaos. Communication systems are almost entirely offline, meaning coordination between regions is nearly impossible. In this new world, the constant threat of destruction haunts every moment. People have adapted by creating underground communities or hiding in natural caves, but even these places are not always safe. Tornadoes can cause flooding in tunnels or block escape routes with fallen debris. The weather remains erratic and extreme, with supercell storms forming continuously, fueled by the planet's unstable atmosphere. While the immediate destruction is horrifying, the long-term environmental effects make the situation even worse. Massive dust clouds thrown into the air block sunlight for months at a time, dropping temperatures in some places by several degrees. This nuclear winter effect makes growing food nearly impossible in many regions. Forests that once helped regulate the climate are gone, and soil erosion worsens with every storm. Freshwater supplies are contaminated or drained, leading to widespread shortages. And as this disaster drags on, the question shifts from survival of cities to survival of humanity. Food scarcity, lack of clean water, and exposure to harsh conditions push populations to the brink. Starvation and disease become widespread. The few remaining governments are unable to provide relief, and large-scale migration leads to conflicts over limited resources. The fabric of civilization starts to unravel. By the end of this terrifying year, the world has changed beyond recognition. The constant barrage of EF5 tornadoes has not only wiped out millions of lives, but has shattered ecosystems, crippled the planet's ability to recover, and destroyed nearly all systems humans rely on. The future looks uncertain, with humanity hanging by a thread, fighting against the forces of nature, unleashed in a never-ending storm. This nightmare scenario shows just how fragile life on Earth is, and how quickly everything could be lost if the weather went completely out of control.